All right, we are here in our first color commentary live watch. Hello, everyone. My name is Marcus Lloyd, the one of the hosts of Color Commentary, colorful conversations by colorful people about Christianity, culture, and race. And with me, as always, in our kind of home studio here today is Mr. Antoine Malone. What's up, Antoine?
What's up, man? Good to be here.
I know, man. Like we in here
Let
just
it
watching
begin.
all this stuff, the nonsense.
We say that right over the somber music of the actual inauguration.
Yeah, if you are tuning in, you can see that we are watching live. We've got a C-SPAN version of this, so we may be a little delayed from what you're dealing with in your home if you're watching that. But if you're watching it with us, you can just sit here and watch it, and we can hang out. See, a couple of people are in the feed already, but go ahead and throw comments in. As we kind of get started, I want to know what everybody's feeling as we're kind of walking into this inauguration of the 47th president.
Number 47.
Number 47. That's right. So if you're in the comments area, just kind of throw your here. Tell us how you're feeling about it.
Yeah, scale of 1 to 10. 10 being super excited, 1 being not very excited. How about we put it that way?
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Just not very excited. No, tell us where you're at. So, is this exciting times, or are you feeling less optimistic than that? Love to see it.
See, we got a shot here going through some of the dignitaries. It's always fun to see who kind of shows up and who's going to be in there. Obviously, we've got there's Joe Biden in there, and first lady and the second gentleman. Is that what we're calling him here? Of course, the billionaires in the house. Number one, of course, Elon Musk. Antoine, where are you? If you're going 1 to 10, how are you feeling on that?
That is a great question. I'd probably say 6.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a D on the
okay.
Changing the scale.
Oh, okay. my Lord,
A, B, C, D, F.
Your own thing.
It's a D. Yeah, no. We did not. We're barely passing. No.
Okay. You're saying we're barely passing as a country, or as we're just feeling. You're barely passing because it's a scale to say how you're feeling about it.
How you feeling?
Yeah.
Nah. All jokes aside, I say a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Being that I don't have a whole lot of confidence in politics anyway.
Okay, that's fair.
In general, they're either going to make things harder or easier, and I think this one's going to have the potential to make things harder.
Harder for whom?
I think harder for believers. Again, I'm coming from a church point of view, from a Christian. Yeah. So I think it's going to be harder for believers to hold the type of witness we need to hold.
Yeah.
In this inauguration, I think we're going to have to overcome more. Unfortunately.
I see. Yeah, I think in the moment of today, I don't even know if I'm thinking of it in terms of how I'm feeling about what's coming as much as even today. I'm at a 4, maybe, in the sense of today, just because of one thing, right? This is not only the day of the presidential inauguration; it's also the celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King, right? And this is not the first time that this inauguration has fallen on the same day as Dr. King, but there's something about just this mode in this particular president coming in, and the ways in which that the people who I would say Dr. King represented, particularly the people of color, African Americans, the way that they showed out for this particular election and who they supported in the midst of this is not the one that's necessarily that up here today. They're not the one that won.
Yeah.
And so it just feels a bit different. I think the last time this happened was on Bill Clinton, which obviously even now, as we look back in hindsight, people joke it's like, oh, the first black president, you know what I mean? Right. And not that he obviously was, he obviously did some things that ruined some aspects of African American life too, particularly around prison. I don't know. It just feels a little different. So for me, in this mode right now, like a 4 because it's sharing it with Dr. King's Day. But I think going forward, if I was to put it in like not just the inauguration now, but like going forward, I would talk about it in terms of I don't know, the hope that we continue to have in Christ. It doesn't get diminished by a new president.
By who's
right?
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's just, again, that's why I'm at. Like, it will either make it harder, or it's easier. It's either the early church or the later church.
Yeah.
If you know, like, it's either Lions or it's the Crusades. But in either way, it's a little difficult.
Cool.
And the work is sort of defined by that. So yeah, I know that we had a couple people malfunction. Pop Danny says, I'm a 1 out of 10. The only reason I'm even seeing the inauguration is for the commentary here. Yeah. So shout out to Malfunction, man. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry to hear that. Okay. 1 out of 10.
I know. I don't. It's hard to kind of watch it in the midst of everything that's going on to see how the I guess the underlying feeling of folks going in. But again, I want to make sure. Well, let me start by saying this, because I think that's a great point. Of a lot of people I know are not watching the inauguration. I know that even on my family chat, there was a conversation around boycotting the inauguration, all that, and so the question becomes. The question, I guess, becomes like, what is the reason for watching something like this, right? And I think in the midst of that, the reason why we're watching is not necessarily, well, I'll say it like this: we're taking our cues from the King Center, right? Okay. We're taking our cues from the King Center, right? Like when the Bernice King, they moved a lot of their stuff to earlier in the day or later in the day. And they are encouraging people to watch this inauguration, right? They're encouraging us to watch it because we need to be active, right? We need to know what people are talking about. There's plenty of people who are really, really excited about this, and so they're like, "Hey, I can't wait to watch the inauguration." But I know that there's other folks who are not excited. They want to boycott it. Obviously, we have people who are a part of the political spectrum who are not even showing up for the inauguration today. And I'm with Bernice King. I think that for all of us to be really effective going forward, we have got to make sure that we are connected in to what's happening in our context as good ambassadors of Christ. And in our work of racial reconciliation, racial justice, like there's a lot of stuff that's going to be, I'm anticipating there's a lot of stuff said today that's going to be very telling about what the next 4 years is going to be. I can think of particularly in terms of the conversation immigration and things of that nature, which we'll have some guests on to kind of talk through that. And so I think we just need to be prepared, be able to understand what's coming. Also, the things that are said here are things that are going to be people are going to be held accountable for as well, right? Whether it be from just the president-elect or others, when you start to get
absolutely
interviews and different that kind of nature. Yeah, I think that's the kind of thing that we need to hear it, because at the end of the day, what if I'm going to say it?
Okay,
I'm going to say it.
Say it.
What if this is not everything people anticipated to be the next 4 years?
In what way? Like, what do you think people are anticipating?
Well, maybe I should say like this: like, do we anticipate any good things coming out of this inauguration, or is this a Nazareth presidency? You know what I mean? Nothing good comes out of it. That's right. So are there things that he may promise that will be beneficial at some level and that he needs to be held accountable for? Right. So for instance, hey, the war in Ukraine and Russia, like, I'm going to shut that down today. Right. Okay, good. That's a good thing, like, for that war to stop. Right. I in some aspect. So if that happens, that's a good thing. Right. If he says that's what he's going to do and he does it, well, that's a good thing. So we have a moment where we see him talking about that. Right. I mean, you know, see what I'm saying? Like, are there positive aspects that might bring? Look, I don't like how much I pay for my groceries.
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
If those prices get better, that's a good thing, right? Or are we only judging it based on one or two different pieces, right? Are we in some ways reverting to this sort of what is it? I'm losing the word right now, but when you have your one thing that you're voting and making your decision about voting,
your one vote,
your single policy,
your one issue,
or am I making
single issue vote?
Yeah, single issue kind of expectation, right? If this particular single issue doesn't get handled, is everything?
I wonder. Like, if people probably feel like they're bartering one thing for the other, though. Like, let's say he does bring grocery prices down, but he's also talking about this. I'm going to get rid of. Like, did you get a chance to look at the party last night or
his
Trump
rally and
his rally? And did you hear him talk? It was very Trumpy,
of course, yeah.
Sure. In the sense that it was like rambled a little bit. But one of the things that he's talking about is these mass deportations, this rollback of DEI. This one of the things I noted last night he talked about is the bringing back, if you will, meritocracy.
Yeah.
And he said we want it to be about merit again, is what he said. So these are things that have a larger effect on the community. It's not that I don't want things to be on merit. I just like everybody's merit to be in the room. You know,
okay.
Like I like to get a shot for you to evaluate my merit in the first place.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Which is what I think DEI is actually trying to accomplish. We're not trying to put people in who aren't qualified. But anyway, my point is he's promising these things that have larger effect. I guess groceries is a pretty large effect.
Sure.
But if I'm having to choose between the two, I don't know that I want to give up.
Okay.
I think I'll pay a little bit more for my tortillas. If there's true equal opportunity across our nation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think there's people who are kind of juxtaposing these two positives and negatives together and deciding this one's probably a little bit more important than the other, and it leads to that sense of hopelessness and disdain.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good way of talking about it and kind of the trading out, because I think there is always a sacrifice to some extent that you're making, no matter who is engaging.
Right.
Oh, look, we've got President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, and it's always an interesting thing to kind of watch how they're dealing with this. I know when earlier I was watching earlier, and President-elect Trump showed up at the White House and was meeting with and kind of doing that weird thing that presidents tend to do, where they do a transition of power, and the new president shows up and meets the old president. Remember that? God, it's been so long since I've seen any of that happen. It's just it's such a difficult thing, but I noticed that, and so it's an odd thing to sit there and watch President Biden, who obviously had been just getting lambasted by President-elect Trump, his family, all that stuff, and all of a sudden you have to kind of stand in front of them and meet them, and you've got to shake hands, and you got to smile, and you got to turn and take the picture, and just what an odd ordeal that is. Wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Lisa was talking about, like, Joe Biden was had tea earlier with Trump.
Yeah.
And we were talking this morning about like would you do that after all the mudslinging that happened in the campaign? Would you have that tea, or not? And we were kind of going back and forth. Looks like we may be having some technical issues. Some of you are. Let me see. Let's to the tech room. You guys let us know. Are we good on all three platforms, or which ones are we struggling on? We're good on Instagram and Facebook. We're not good on Instagram and Facebook. Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. So we'll check that out as they work on that technical aspect. We have Vice President-elect.
So we're good on YouTube.
Have something over here.
Oh no, it says they think we're only on Facebook.
No, it says looks like we have video has been stopped on YouTube. Right. So we'll take a look at that. We're seeing Vice President Vance coming in here, obviously, and engaging that. I want to see if I can hear exactly what's going on in there. Let's pull that audio up just a little bit for what C-SPAN is doing there. Just a touch there. And we're going to be able to have our first guest in just a little bit here. I see you're in the green room. We'll bring her in just a second as we get some of this technical aspects done.
The staff director for the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, Elizabeth Farah, House Sergeant at Arms, the Honorable William P. McFarland, Senate Sergeant at Arms and Doorkeeper, the Honorable Jennifer A. Hemingway, Senate Majority Leader, the Honorable John Thune, and the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, House Democratic Leader, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries, House Majority Leader, the Honorable Steve Scalise, Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Mike Johnson, Senate Democratic Leader, the Honorable Charles E. Schumer, Ranking Member of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural
It's so interesting seeing it done inside this year.
And
I know that's I don't know. There's something.
Ceremonies, the Honorable Amy Klobuchar.
There's just